Welcome everyone to Healthy. This is week 11 of 12 of the program. Today we're going to discuss the success of last week's assignment, discuss health management, we'll discuss the week's assignment, and introduce next week's topic. And just a reminder, if you have not turned your tracker in, please make sure you get that in. Last week we talked about emotional eating, and we talked about 2 steps to stop emotional eating. The first step was recognizing emotional hunger and replacing it with health behaviors. So the first step is recognizing emotional hunger, and the second step is replacing it with healthy behaviors. I realize I said that all in one sentence. So the first step is recognizing emotional hunger. The second step is replacing it with healthy behaviors. So there's 2 options for replacing those unhealthy behaviors. Option 1 is non-food distractions and activities. Option 2 is healthy foods. So replacing those unhealthy foods with healthy foods. Your assignment this past week was to create a physical list of non-food distractions and activities. So I wanted you to think about what is one non-food distraction or activity you can do to replace emotional eating. For some people, that might be walking or journaling or maybe calling someone on the phone to discuss what they might be going through. So the goal is for you to not only to create that physical list of non-food distractions and activities, but to actually try to implement them the next time you might notice that you have that emotional hunger going on. All right, today we're going to be talking about health management. We'll define chronic disease, discuss the 4 key modifiable risk behaviors that influence chronic disease, and then we'll talk about 8 healthy lifestyle behaviors for chronic disease prevention and management. So what are chronic diseases? According to the CDC, chronic diseases are defined broadly as conditions that last 1 year or more and require ongoing medical attention or limits activities of daily living or both. Chronic diseases are largely influenced by a short list of risk behaviors, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, and they can be modified. So some examples of chronic disease include heart disease, cancer, chronic lung disease, stroke, diabetes, chronic kidney disease. Now let's talk about the 4 key modifiable risk behaviors that influence chronic disease. First is tobacco use and exposure to secondhand smoke, poor nutrition, lack of physical activity, and excessive alcohol use. So again, the 4 key modifiable risk behaviors that influence chronic disease include tobacco use and exposure to secondhand smoke, poor nutrition, lack of physical activity, and excessive alcohol use. So let's look at the first one. So tobacco use and exposure to secondhand smoke, it can cause cancer, heart disease, stroke, lung disease, type 2 diabetes, and other chronic health conditions. It's the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death in the United States. Again, tobacco use is the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death in the United States. The second key modifiable risk behavior is poor nutrition. So poor nutrition is a diet low in fruits and vegetables and high in sodium, saturated fats, and added sugars. Poor nutrition can cause heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and some forms of cancer. Some interesting facts. Fewer than 1 in 10 US adults and adolescents eat enough fruits and vegetables. 6 in 10 young people and 5 in 10 adults consume a sugary drink on any given day. And of course, we all know this. US diets are high in added sugars, sodium, and saturated fats. All right, let's talk about lack of physical activity. That's the third risk behavior. So low levels of physical activity can contribute to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and some forms of cancer, as well as obesity. Some interesting facts, only 1 in 4 US adults and 1 in 5 high school students meet the recommended physical activity guidelines. About 31 million adults age 50 or older are inactive, meaning that they don't get any activity beyond that of daily living. All right, the fourth and last one is excessive alcohol use. It can cause heart disease, stroke, liver disease, some forms of cancer, and other harmful health conditions. Excessive alcohol use is responsible for 95,000 deaths in the United States each year, including 1 in 10 total deaths among working age adults. All right, so let's talk about the 8 healthy lifestyle behaviors for chronic disease prevention and management. So the first one, do not smoke, avoid secondhand smoke whenever possible. Eat a healthy diet. The diet that we've been talking about with our Go Healthy class, really specifically focusing on those Go Healthy fundamentals, making sure you're getting at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, drinking at least 64 ounces of water, practicing portion control using the My Plate, focusing on lean proteins, whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and low fat or no fat dairy, getting regular physical activity, avoiding or limiting alcohol consumption, making sure you are managing your stress effectively, getting enough sleep, making sure you're getting screened yearly, as well as doing screenings for your age or gender specific. So it's always good for you to go for an annual screening just to get that checkup, just to make sure that everything is okay. And if there are some things that are not okay, then you are able to follow up with your doctor for ongoing medical attention. Lastly, knowing your family health history. Know in advance what runs in your family. Maybe heart disease runs in your family, or diabetes, or high blood pressure. It's always good to know in advance what runs in your family. So this week's assignment is to engage in all those healthy lifestyle behaviors that I just mentioned for prevention and management of chronic disease. Again, to continue to meet all your minimum fundamentals every day. This is a big reason of what we were talking about today. You know, when you follow those Go Healthy fundamentals, it plays a role in chronic disease prevention as well as management. I know up until now, even the program is called Go Healthy Weight Management Program, but it's even more than a weight management program. It's a health management program. So the goal is to prevent chronic disease. If you already have a chronic disease, the goal is to manage it by engaging in those healthy lifestyle behaviors. So next week, we're going to be talking about determining the next step. So we have one more week of the Go Healthy program. I know the weeks have flew by, but um, next week will be the last week of the program. And that's all that I have for you all today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day and listening in. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next week.